What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Run Your Mouth podcast. And I paid for Twitter Premium. I don't know why it didn't just go live to Twitter Premium. We'll correct that in the future. I gave Musk my $8. I actually just paid in advance for the whole year because you get the savings, and I like savings. I'm a fan of savings. Everybody, have you panicked because of the blue screens of death? Have you also called up your friends with homes in remote locations and said, "Ready the backup studio"? I'm not sticking around. I saw what happened with COVID. They're re-rolling out Y2K, everybody. You guys figuring out what's going on right now in our lives? Have you figured out what's happening? They couldn't shoot the president. They couldn't resell us on COVID, and so now they're going back to the drawing boards and they're doing the Y2K thing. Bill Gates is pissed off that we're all mad at him over the vaccines, that we didn't buy his worm burgers, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to get back at these people, and they all understand the blue string of death. We've all seen that. Wasn't it the red circle of death? Wasn't that what happened when you overplayed on your Xbox and you're like, can't you sell me something that doesn't just overheat and then say that it's my fault because I was playing too much video games? Isn't the point of having this thing playing too much video games? What did you put my mom into the Xbox to tell me that I was spending too much time playing the video game? So the whole point of having this thing. If you're going to let me, all right, or were people at the TSA watching too much porn? Is that what happened? They all need antivirus software. Why is it always the antivirus software that's sewing down your computer and ruining all your shit? The whole point was supposed to be that you're protecting me from the viruses out there. It's not very helpful when you shut down my computer. Anyways, we're out on the porch. We're still porching. We're not quitting over some blue screens at airports. That's not what we do on Porch Tour. We porched through all of COVID. We still got the premium unvaccinated swimmers on this operation. You think because there's a couple blue screens out there and Bill Gates is running some tests to see if he can shut down all the computers at the same time, tell us that we got to stay back home and that there's no airlines unless we all don't vote for Trump? Hey, listen, we tried to kill the guy and that didn't work. So now we're going to take away all your computers unless you vote the way that we want you to vote, which may or may not be for Biden. They're trying to recall the guy, but that's not working out too good. Anyways, guys, Brewston Mill, West Virginia tonight. Then we're outside of Cleveland tomorrow. That one's shaping up to be a good show. And then we're back out at the AJ Theater next week on Saturday outside of Bon Aqua, Tennessee. Going to do some partying up in Nashville before the show with Dave Smith. And then I also got Memphis, and then I'm going out to California. So there's a lot more Porch Tour to come experience. www.porchtour.com. Come hang out for Porch Tour. Oh, and then the other thing is, we're going to start getting more grandiose imagery of me up into the world because you got a Trump. I watched Trump dodge a bullet on live TV because he spent so much time talking about how great he is. He imposed his greatness on the universe that hillbillies and Christians supported the man, and he's so grandiosed himself into existence that he dodged a bullet on live television. I want into the algorithm. I will start manifesting. I will start building boards. I will start reading The Secret. I'll get Ouija boards. You tell me what I got to do to manifest more reality so that I can have more money and more porches, more women, more cake, a better stomach. Do I have to put that on my vision board? A stomach that could digest dairy? Can I will that one into existence? So, I'm going to be walking around with these signs, just putting them up in the middle of towns, putting it up on billboards. It's time to start pressing on the universe and enforcing the fact that we're taking over the world. Run your mouth, nation. People that porch together stay together. Porch Tour finds a way. Other Gordon Bombay quotes when I actually sit down and watch more Mighty Ducks. But let's get into it. We've got coverage of the RNC and the latest in the assassination attempts and others. All right, let's take a look. Let's see what's going on in the live chat. Not too much action in the live chat yet. Zach had some good Biden material on stage last night. Thank you, Runaway Slav. Oh, you know what? I'm going to throw this out there. If you're a frequent participator in the Run Your Mouth chat and you got an online name and then you come to the live show, tell me who you are. Like Roscoe, when he showed up with Silvers, he's like, "Yo, what's up? I'm Roscoe." I'm like, "Oh shit, yeah, you're Roscoe." There's some frequent commentators. There's people that spend their whole lives sitting at their computer just waiting for that moment when Run Your Mouth goes live. It's an interesting lifestyle when you just sit there and you wait for the notifications that don't come. YouTube will do you dirty. You'll be just sitting around going, "I want to know. This thing's not on a set schedule. I got to leave in the middle of an important meetings and go, listen, I'm sorry. My wife called. Run Your Mouth is live. It's a medical emergency. I have to leave because Run Your Mouth is live right now. And so if you're one of those people who are frequent to the live chat and then you come to the live show, come say what's up and let me know what your show handle is. David Martin, nothing more relatable than your Xbox red ring of death analogy. I know, isn't that wild? They just red ringed of death multiple computers that were actually important across the entire country. Gregory, what's up to you too? All right, let's get into some topics. And let's pull that guy out of my mouth. I'm starting to buzz. I'm going to put out the footage. We had a fun moment last night in Philly where I started giving out Zemos to the audience. And then we started doing a stare down with people. There were some tough Philly guys. And I was like, you want to see who can last longer? And then we started doubling up on them. And then I was telling my last joke. And I'd also been drinking a rain because I'm a real garbage person. And it's nice, like when you don't drink at a gig and you pretend like I'm a sober person. I'm one of these guys who's living a better, cleaner life, just drinking rain energy drinks and popping multiple Zemos into my mouth and upper decking. Don't be a lower decker. Don't you got to be an upper decker. All right. Well, here it is. If you guys didn't see it, can you imagine anything scarier than being in the airport and be like, I've watched too much porn and seen this screen before. Did the whole and then it starts off like a horror movie. You're like, listen, honey, I'm still getting home. But there's this one screen. It looks like this one screen malfunction. And then you're like, wait, everyone's using Microsoft computers? And Bill Gates is testing his little plug into the system of how he can take over everything and go, too bad I bought all the farmland, bitches. You want to eat your worm burgers or not? And then here, this was from Mish Talk. I was reading this little piece. Let's see how I can read it while we're here. If you want to tackle this yourself, you can first try to reboot your computer. Microsoft that sometimes helps, but could require as many as 15 restarts before it takes. I mean, what? Can you imagine? Like that takes perseverance. Who was the first guy who's like, I'm going to figure this one out and really just committed to, I'll plug it back in. I'll plug it back in. Like sometimes I'm on phone with tech support and they just transfer you to a new department, which is like, have you tried unplugging it? And you're like, do you think the last guy that transferred me didn't tell me to unplug it? But maybe there's something to it. Maybe when you've had faulty equipment, when I've been yelling about Optimum, it's just because I didn't have enough perseverance. That's what I'm learning. I quit too early in life that somebody sat there, somebody at the head of either Microsoft or this CrowdStrike thing, they called in the big guns. They're a multi-billion-dollar corporation. The largest companies in the world rely on them for cybersecurity. And when they pushed an update on Friday, which from I hear from IT people, that's bad luck. You don't want to be pushing updates on Friday. That's a policy across the board. You're going to ruin your weekend. You're going to ruin other people's weekends. You want to ruin the work week. If you ruin people's work week, they're working anyways. What's better than sitting there on a Tuesday afternoon, everything shuts down and goes blue, and you're like, shit, I can't work anymore. That's doing people a favor. But when it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, people are trying to stop pretending like they're working. They're giving up the exhaustion of moving their mouse around from home computers, sitting at pools, pretending like they're still in an office, making 3 phone calls a day, one to the boss, one to the manager, and one to a single client, and pretending like it's exhausting work pretending like you're working. We've all had office jobs, so you got to pretend like you're being busy all day. It's exhausting. And you finally get your weekend, and that's when they do the tech errors, so you can't even fly home. So anyways, they called up the big dogs and they said, guys, we the SEAL Team 6, you've seen the movies, the one guy how to waiting on the backup internet. Hopefully, we don't get too much of that because I didn't record locally, and we all know how I feel about post production. I got a porch to get to. All right, I can't be sitting around re-editing the pauses from the internet. Listen, the largest corporations in the entire world are dealing with blue screens of death. So if we have a little flakiness in the live stream, Max, are you watching live? Max, have you tried restarting your internet 15 times in a row so that it actually works? Isn't that great that someone actually came in and just continuously unplugged, replugged, unplugged, replugged, was basically fornicating with an outlet until they figured out that 15 times was the magic number? Listen, every single company that's still dealing with blue screens of death, it's because they didn't have the fortitude to do the one thing that you can do when equipment doesn't work, which is for some reason restart it 15. Maybe that could have worked in the Matrix movie. Did they try that with the robots? Did they try turning them off 15 times in a row? All right. We got Poyekis letting me know that he's wearing my undies, wearing the code. Isn't that nice? It's like I'm touching your balls right now. It's like we've got a special connection. And all of you could have this special connection. If you go to sheathunderwear.com, use promo code RYM and get 20% off the greatest underwear that's ever graced the balls of man. Lunacy _base. You calling Joy Reid Cisco on PTP the other day was top shelf. Thank you, sir. You know what I really enjoy about the live, particularly the live part of the problem podcast, is that it hits in the algorithm, and I think we get in front of a more general audience. And there's some topics, I'm pretty even in my analysis. And let me tell you, the Trump lovers are bigger babies than your left wing. Like, they instantly like to call me some libtard. I'm not a liberal. The second you have any criticism of Trump, these people just fold. It is such a God bless Trump religion to these people that the second you interject any humor to criticize Lord Trump, my God, do these people, same thing happened like 6 months ago when I was criticizing RFK. It's amazing the people, and I read comments. Guys, there's no life outside of the show. You think I'm not sitting around reading the comments? And it used to be negative. Now I might start trolling this because the conservatives, my God, can you guys not handle a joke? And I love it. Also, I'm going to start doing more live episodes. You might hear some repeat comments between here and part of the problem, but what are we going to do? All right, let's go. One more comment. Eric Mintz, you'd be very surprised how many times power cycling equipment fixes problems. I'd like to get that IT job. Just I'll start dressing like Evel Knievel, and you really do it big. You show up, you get the sparklers going, you get the WWF music going, you walk into an office, and you really commit to unplugging and replugging things in. You go, I'm going to get this shit to work again. I don't care how many times I have to unplug it and plug it back in. We will get this thing to work. All right, quick question for all you people out there hanging in the comments. Big time live stream today, full 15 people. We got to get back on Twitter. We were on Twitter. We had like 350 people hanging out on these live streams. And I paid them my money. I probably just got to rehook it up. It's all good. How does this sound? Am I blowing out the sound? I feel like I set the levels before and it sounds a little loud in my cans. Is it peaking on you guys, or does it sound all right? Runaway Slav, Windows 95 never had such issues. Reject modernity, embrace the 90s. Going back to Windows 95 sounds terrible. What are you doing? You're playing that little ski game until you get eaten by a bear. Windows 95 was not that. That's I'm calling fake news on that one. Dream Uncle saying I sound great. Thank you, sir. All right. Let's talk about the RNC. Not going to talk about the RNC too much because there's other more recent topics. That's the world we live in. If you don't hit things within the first 9 hours of when it happened, everyone's like, I already did. That was a full 6 hours ago. That was a whole 2 hours ago. That happened 10 minutes ago. Are you really going to comment on something that happened 10 minutes ago? I want to hear about what happened 3 seconds ago. And you're talking about what happened 3 seconds ago, 2 seconds too late. That's it. I'm getting my news from someone else. I was listening to the person who had the least thoughtful thought because they were talking about it before it even happened. All right. Anyways, Donald Trump going up there, going, guys, I'll be a good boy now. I promise. Please don't kill me. I'll stop saying divisive, nasty things. I got the message. I get it. I get it now. I get it. I get that I have to be nicer to the deep state. I'm sorry. I promise I'll be nice from now on. It's a fun news sale. Donald Trump, he's got a new card where he's like, you guys all witnessed it live on television, a miracle. And obviously I've been chosen from God, and that's why it's time to vote for me. I'll fix the country. Y'all saw it. Are you guys going to deny the Donald Trump miracle that happened before all of our very eyes? I mean, talk about a winning hand in politics. I shouldn't be here, but for the grace of God who saved my life so that I can lead you once again and probably do none of the things that I said I was going to do and continue to ramp up debt and then have put the high tariffs on other countries that will boost the inflation. And then I'll say it was from Biden. And then who knows, maybe I will or won't get us out of the wars, and maybe I will or won't improve your health care. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what improvements Donald Trump actually makes with this JD Vance character. But he found a winning hand, and you know what? No more divisiveness. I'll be your grandpa. I'll give everybody a hug. I love this nation, and I've been chosen from God to serve it, to service it once again. And now listen, it's easy from the sidelines. It's very easy. Listen, if I was shot at on live TV, I'm not going back out there. I'm staying home with Melania. I'm getting myself one of those big old Pope buckets. I'm going to get wheeled out in glass-proof cases and go, I would love not to be behind this case, but they want to kill me. I'm just saying, I would have preferred, I'm going to put him through a table energy. After they had the whole WWF theatrics of Dana White pitching it like it was a fight, followed by Kid Rock playing a song. I might have the order on this wrong. Followed by Hulk Hogan, brother. I would have liked Donald Trump to go out there and go, I'm putting the deep state through a table. They fucked me too hard. It started with Russia collusion, keeping me from doing my entire agenda, followed by COVID and telling us all that we have to go back into our homes. They did me dirty, and they keep doing me dirty. They tried with all the court cases. I got through the court cases, and then by the grace of God, I just dodged that bullet. And if there's one thing I've learned through this process, it's time to finally get rid of the deep state. It's time to drain the swamp. Last time they tricked me, they put too many of the establishment people into my cabinet, and I wasn't able to actually serve you, the American people, and drain the swamp. But as they just took my life, I have a new passion for actually cleaning up this mess, and I'm going to do it. But instead, he went up there and went, please, guys, don't shoot me again. I'll be a nice boy. I promise. I'll be as tired as Joe Biden. I'll do, if that's what you guys prefer. If you prefer a really sleepy president, I'll be a sleepy president. All right, now let's look at some of the theatrics that we got to observe. First, you had Kid Rock, who was a good time. And I was joking on Twitter that when he first came out, like, this is no longer your grandma's Republican Party until you saw the people in the audience trying to dance. And fair enough. I don't know. You're there. You think you're listening to speeches. All of a sudden, you're feeling the groove of Kid Rock being out there, lip syncing to his own music, bobbling around, and you're like, I think I know how to dance to this. I think I know how to dance to this. And then, Kid Rock's up there. He's a good showman when he's lip syncing his own song. And you get the occasional guy in the audience who's like, I've been to a concert. I know to bob my head. That lady feels like she's throwing out her, I can play the keyboard Frankenstein dance. And then, of course, we had Hulk Hogan coming out there. Go, I got 2 shirts, brother. I'm here to support the president, brother. It was fun. I don't know that we had any serious conversations about policy. Maybe in the second half when Donald Trump was already practically asleep. But this is his new thing. He's in his I'm just a sweet grandpa phase. I'm the nation's grandpa. Donald Trump, Joe Biden said that he was going to heal the nation. Well, I'm showing up with cheeseburgers for everybody. I'm going to be the fun-loving grandpa. I realize what happened when they tried to take my life. And now let's take this awkward moment where, no, don't do that to me, computer. We're flowing so good right now. That's going to be a problem. Why are computers so finicky? This is, maybe the lesson to be learned is it's actually time to go for Apple. Let's see if I'll cue you guys in. The annoyingness. Oh, wait. I think I know how to correct this. I don't have to cue you people in. You people can remain in the dark about what just happened. Let's see. No, I got to change that. All right. Hold on a second, everybody. Hold on. Talk amongst yourselves. It's a quick fix. It's not a big deal. I know how to solve these kind of tech problems now. We've been podcasting long enough. We're figuring out our secondary podcasting location for road emergencies for when Bill Gates decides to shut down the country. And let's get this back up. Hold on one second. All right, I'll let you guys know what happened. In order to share things with sound on StreamYard, it either needs to be a Chrome tab or an entirely different computer. And so for the home studio, I've got multiple monitors. I'm able to keep things in a separate monitor, which is easier. And this one, I have to keep it in a Chrome tab. Are you guys falling asleep right now? I don't like tech either. I prefer just, hey, did you try and plug it back in? Because that's what the leading tech experts would say will solve your problem. So I clicked on it and then opened up a new window. Then you don't get sound. But here, now we can watch Donald Trump have an awkward kiss with his supposed wife. A little affection. No, don't touch my makeup. Come on. Don't go too far to this. Donald, you know we have an arrangement. You know you're not supposed to be you're not supposed to be touching my hair. We talked about this. I said I would show up, but no touching my hair or makeup. And then you had, of course, the granddaughter came out who's 17. So no comments, everybody. No comments. Don't even think things. I don't know what it is about rich kids, 17-year-old kids, that they look like 30-year-old actresses that are in the movies playing the 24-year-olds, but no comments. That's a 17-year-old, everybody. No comments, no thoughts. That's a 17-year-old. But she was up there, instead of policy, once again, instead of, hey, we're going to get rid of the deep state, you get the bat mitzvah speech of, my grandfather sneaks me candy. He's just as good as your grandfather.
People don't often see. To me, he's just a normal grandpa. He gives us candy and soda when our parents aren't looking. He always wants to know how we're doing in school.
Did you guys ever have to go to bat mitzvahs as a kid and listen to these speeches? Because that's what that was. And then you got JD Vance. I don't even need that comment. Next slide. What do we got? All right, let's take a look at the latest from the shootings and take a moment to thank YoKratom.com, home of the $6 kilo, only place in the entire world you can get an entire kilo of Kratom for just $60. All right, listen, even the mainstream media is reporting on the shenanigans that took place in the shooting where we all witnessed a miracle, and now we all need to hold hands together, accept the Lord into our heart, and realize that Donald Trump is the next savior, the next prophet. Hey, will he share the visions that he's getting from the good Lord as we all witness the miracle of him not being shot on live television? And so amidst all the chaos of, firstly, apparently, if there's a kryptonite for the Secret Service, it's sloped roof. I mean, listen, if you ever want to go and take out our troops, you want to take out presidents, you just got to make sure that you're on a sloped roof, because as long as it's on an angle, they can't see you. They can't approach you. It's too dangerous for them to go up there. They need permission to shoot you. You're going to get in trouble if you watch for too long and take people out. The Secret Service, they've had a long-standing policy where they have a deep commitment to not being aggressive towards slope roofs. They don't get on slope roofs. I don't know what the arrangement is between the lizard people and the people in government where slope roofs are off limits. That was the deal the lizard people made with our Secret Service is, listen, you can do what you got to do, but no getting near the sloped roofs. The government sometimes just has weird OCD about specific things that make you think about what is the real relationship between us, the overlords, the demons, the metaphysical spirits, that there's a fear of sloped roofs. But that is a firm line for the Secret Service that they don't go near sloped roofs. And so you've had all sorts of, everyone's reporting on it. A full hour beforehand, you got this kid just wandering around. 20 minutes beforehand, you got a police guy actually sees him on the roof. You got all sorts of people standing there pointing. And here's the latest. This is from Josh Hawley. He tweeted this. And according to Josh Hawley, there are whistleblowers that a lot of the staff that day that was guarding Donald Trump was not traditional Secret Service, but they were actually replacements from other agencies. That kind of sounds like a little bit more conspiracy talk there, right? I mean, that talks like that. What is it? The negligence? Then instead of the well-trained Secret Service people that could have handled the job on a big outdoor speech, they went with the replacements. Or the replacement team, is that the, hey, we don't look at sloped roofs teams? Are they the ones that, they get the thing, hey, the kid's showing up, don't look at the kid, don't worry, he knows how to blend in. He knows not to get spotted by the crowd. He goes up there and they're like, is he going to do this thing already? Because I don't know how long I can ignore this kid. I don't know that the general public is going to accept this slope roof theory, but amidst all the shenanigans that might lead you to think that the government was in on this, apparently the people guarding him that day, according to Josh Hawley, were not the normal Secret Service, but they were actually stand-ins from other agencies. Then you've got Trump gunman Thomas Cook used bike to scout rally unimpeded, and apparently he was around. He was biking around, checking out the sights and scenes. There were claims that he had a drone the day beforehand as well. And, the better excuse than, hey, we're afraid of sloped roofs might be, we didn't realize that door could possibly be dangerous. We got to go back and regroup because, we're used to threats looking a certain way. And he just kind of blended in so much as some autistic kid on a bicycle. We just thought, hey, leave the nice autistic kid alone. All right. And now this is incredible because the head of the Secret Service, lady's trying to keep her job. And I talked about it on the last episode of the government school that you go to lie to, because we're going to see in this video where she basically, it's so Fauci. We did it right. It didn't work, but we did it the right way. That's basically their new thing. We have our training and we have our protocols. We did it right. It didn't work, but at the time that we did it in the right way. Now, sure, the other way would have been better, but we didn't know that at the time. And so you can't say that we did it wrong, and we will continue doing it the way that we did it, even though it doesn't work. And anyone with common sense could have seen the situation and said, hey, don't you need to guard that thing as well? That's not us doing it wrong. And we'll continue basically doing things like, you understand, they can't admit that they were ever wrong. It's Fauci. When we did it at the time, it was the right way to do it. Sure, there were other ways that would have been better, but we didn't know that at the time. And sure, people with common sense would have done it that way, but we didn't know it at the time. And so at the time that we did it in the right way. And you can continue to trust us in the future, even though we're using the exact protocols and mechanisms that got it directly wrong. And all right, listen, you guys might think that I'm putting words in this lady's mouth. You might think that this is not going to be her actual excuse, where of course she would go, yeah, we messed up. Yeah, obviously we need to be guarding these buildings. Obviously we're going to have to do a full review. I'm going to have to be fired or step down, and we're going to have to get actual people who are good at this in. Isn't it amazing when you look at these government positions, you're like, oh, I guess I could do every single one of these jobs because I just have more common sense. Maybe the government training just makes you worse at everything, where somewhere along the way, you replace your common sense with how to just lie to keep your job. And so then these people are just never good at anything. All right, here, listen, you guys might think that I'm putting words in this lady's mouth and that there's no way that that's what she would have actually said about it. Here it is.
Increased security for former President Trump because of a credible threat from Iran. I've spoken with several people who look at the perimeter, hearing that news, look at the perimeter and say, how, knowing that there was a credible threat against the former president, how could that perimeter be so small that it excluded a building just 150 yards away from the podium?
I can't get into the specifics of any threats, but obviously with all of our protectees, we're constantly monitoring the threats that are out there, and we design our security plan based on that. Also depending on the venue and the environment that we're in. And on that particular day, a full advance had been completed. But this is also why we are doing an internal review, and we look forward to the external review as well. And obviously, if there are things that we need to change about our policies or our procedures or our methods, we are certainly going to do so.
Was that perimeter too small?
The perimeter encompassed the area that we needed to secure for the event that we had on that day.
Isn't that amazing? Obviously, you were wrong. And obviously, the perimeter that you established wasn't good enough. But no, since we're the experts and we said that that doesn't need to be in our perimeter, we technically did it correct. And sure, it didn't work, but it was still the correct way to do it. What a fascinating way to think. Let's continue. Oh, no, I just did it again. This is a problem. This is a problem. Whatever. We learned from the last time that it's a quick fix, but I am learning that maybe I got to start traveling with another monitor so that we can avoid this particular situation. But who knows? Maybe I'll get so quick at correcting it, I can just do it while I'm talking and you guys won't even notice that it happened. And we're back, except we're going to have to re-listen to that one little part, but it's not a big deal.
Security for former President Trump.
Yeah, we can jump ahead 30 seconds to hear her next lie.
We're constantly monitoring the threats that are out there, and we design our security plan based on that, also depending on the venue and the environment that we're in. And on that particular day, a full advance had been completed, but this is also why we are doing an internal review, and we look forward to the external review as well. And obviously, if there are things that we need to change about our policies or our procedures or our methods. We are certainly going to do so.
Was that perimeter too small?
The perimeter encompassed the area that we needed to secure for the event that we had on that day. What happened is a terrible incident and should never happen. And we are obviously going to make sure that moving forward, we take whatever lessons that come out of this and adjust accordingly.
Was every element, every part of his, from the intelligence to the...
You got to love that one. Listen, we messed this one up royally. And it was actually a thoughtful mistake because we're standing by the fact that we did it correctly. But you can trust us that with the same logic that got us to this failure, we know how to correct it.
Counter assault team, to the detail agents, the shift agents. I mean, every element, top to bottom, of the advance in the operation, was every element increased after you learned of this credible threat?
What we increased was what we felt was appropriate for the former president and for that particular.
Listen, I'm in charge around here. And even if we had a royal mistake, the fact that I made the decision meant that it was the right decision. So the fact that you're criticizing me, even after I got everything terribly wrong, is actually offensive because I'm the credible authority on this issue. So, admitting no fault whatsoever. And then you've got what's great is, what's nice about multiple government agencies is that everyone gets to point to the other one and go, it was that guy. It was me. Nope, it was that guy. Nope, it was him. I never said that. I never said that. It's nice that we had Fauci, who so lied to us for so long that now you can just recategorize it as Fauci speak because we know what this looks like. So this is great. They were trying to say that firstly, it was outside of the perimeter, but at the same time, they were also saying that the cops were actually responsible for that building. But lucky for us, the cop, he works in the government too, so he knows how to blame other people and talk government speak too. So let's listen to the cop on the issue.
Rich Goldinger says the Secret Service was told local police couldn't be responsible for securing the AGR building during the Trump rally.
Was indicated we did not have the manpower to, take that task on as well, based on our number of officers on duty.
Butler Township Manager Tom Knights confirms that message was sent to the Secret Service 2 days before the Trump rally. Butler Township also told them their team could only handle traffic control. KDKA has also learned the Secret Service never responded to those messages.
And do you know what happened in terms of the security plan for that area?
I don't. All I know is our township police department was very clear that we did not have the manpower for it.
So tell me about what was...
You realize all of our government resources goes towards lawyers to make sure that they're never held responsible. That's what it is. It's just, hey, can we create enough departments where they all cross-reference to the other one, don't respond to the email, and then if something goes wrong, they can go, well, it was a miscommunication between the two teams, but when we made the call, it was obviously the right call, and you can trust us in the future, even though that this one went terribly wrong, to get it right the next time. There you go. All right, let's see. What do I have next? I think we just did that one. Oh, this was great. Talking about Fauci. Now he's still the expert doctor, so they're asking him on the news about his ear. And you know what Fauci should be? Why are you asking me? I only got everything wrong for the last 4 years. Why would you ask me this? What am I, some kind of an expert on people's? It's like they still refer to him the highmost authority in medicine, that if something happens, they're like, oh, well, why don't we get Fauci on to comment? He's the nation's doctor. All right, now let's move on to what's going on with Joe Biden. Obviously, as we know, he has COVID. He's heading home. He wants to get back to the basement and regroup. Everyone's telling him, you can't beat him, Rock. And so he's trying to go back to what worked the first time around, trying to figure out how he can just hang back in the basement again. Maybe put together another campaign from there. Maybe call up Bill Gates and take out all the computers that we all have to stay at home again. And so he can go back to being in his basement. And it's getting weird. It's getting dicey because people are calling for Joe Biden to step down, and he seems to not be doing it. We thought that this was going to be the weekend where Joe Biden finally stepped down. You know what might have happened? It might have been all hands on deck. Hey, let's just report that he's out. They tried to pull the move that we tried to pull on everybody with the Russia war, where we're like, if we get Russia to go to war with Ukraine, we'll get everyone to get our backs and to stop trading with them, and then they'll be done for. And so we're just going to be confident, and we're just going to move forward with the way that we're going to do it, and that's going to force everybody to get in line. And it seems like that's what they're trying to do with Joe Biden, who I guess does not want to step down. And I'm hoping that he steps down because Kamala is the only person more unelectable than Joe Biden. And we've had listen, I hope Joe Biden stays in the race because the first 10 minutes of my current comedy act, I got a lot of Joe Biden jokes in there, and they're tight and they've been working. And I even filmed a special. It sucks with the topical stuff where you actually grind on it for a whole year, you get it real tight, and then the news changes, and you're like, guys, don't change the news. But let's be honest, at this point, I was making dementia jokes like 2 years ago about Joe Biden. Now everyone just knows it. Until, like I've said, his balls are out, his hip just breaks, we're not seeing things that are funny enough. So why not have Kamala Harris out there taking edibles and laughing about buses and spaces and the moment that we're in, if you could appreciate the moment that we're in. And here, just in case anyone here doesn't think that Kamala Harris will be an even bigger disaster than Joe Biden, which I'm on board for. I like a bigger disaster. Here she is talking about Donald Trump getting shot. And this is a gentle reminder that even when she's not laughing, she probably has the worst voice in politics. It's just grating. It is nail on chalkboards. Let's give it a listen.
All right. And apparently, Rachel, stay with me here. Kamala Harris addressing the Trump assassination attempt in public for the very first.
Now confront, one of the questions we now confront is about the way we should engage with one another in this campaign.
It's like Kermit the Frog's getting a prostate exam, and he goes from Kermit the Frog to like more ladylike. I mean, Kamala Harris might have the only voice more grating where you're like, can you just do what RFK did? Whatever RFK did, that he died, you might as well go smoke cigarettes until you have to get a sound machine. And this is when she's not laughing. When she's not doing her goofy, laughy thing, talking about the moment that we're in, here's what her actual voice is like.
On Sunday evening, our President Joe Biden issued a call for unity. And there must be unity around the idea that while our nation's history has been scarred by political violence.
It's enough. I can't listen to any more of it. And now you've got Nancy Pelosi. She's stepping up and saying that we should actually have an open nomination process. I've heard that from others as well. It was rumored that Joe Biden was going to step down, but not endorse Kamala Harris and say that we need to have an open process. So I think they're all kind of understanding, hey, this lady's completely unelectable. But now you've got Joe saying, fighting back and going, listen, all the people that are telling me that I got to step down, Trump is their fault. He's actually going against Obama. He's going against the old guard and saying it's because of you guys that Trump got into office. I was here to be the person that will defeat him, and you guys aren't helping me defeat him again. And I'm not going anywhere. It seems like they're not bullying him out. It seems like he wants to stick around. And so his latest policy is basically, I'm gonna bribe everybody. I'll set Supreme Court limits, and I will make sure that you guys are able to have free student loans. I'll get rid of all your debt. I'll make sure that you can have your abortions. I'll even send Hunter Biden over your house to help you get pregnant. If you feel like you're not getting enough good sex and abortions in your ear, I'll even send Hunter with his massive penis to your house so that you can make sure that you can take advantage of all the free abortions that I am trying to get you. All right, I think that's all the hard news that I will be covering for today. Let's take a couple comments. Then I had one more topic. Tax Burlington. How in the fuck is all the area within rifle range not SS responsibility to secure? It's a good question, sir. Omega Supreme with cheese. CIA got JFK and RFK, failed on Trump. Now they gave Biden COVID. They're trying to bag one more for the hat trick. Junior, we will never get another Joe Biden. Dildo Faggins. It's a great name. I laugh every time. I've never called it out on the show, but every time I see it, I laugh. How can you expect small town law enforcement to take on the responsibility of the SS? Badizi, God, she's insufferable. You guys are important. I agree with you on every single one of these. Junior, do not quietly into the good night, Joe. I think you meant do not go quietly. Jeff Gordon's mom, will you still be on part of the problem? As far as I know, I haven't been fired. They're going to have to pull me out of there like Joe Biden. You kidding me? All right. This is from The Hill. I have no idea what it is. I have no idea what I put here. Of the absurd. Oh, yeah. Okay. So we've been hearing a lot about Project 2025, how dangerous Project 2025 was. And I was saying I am too lazy to research this one. It doesn't strike me as interesting enough. And the fact that a think tank published something, it doesn't sound to me like could possibly be that important. Now, this was a Hill article talking about why Project 2025 is so dangerous. If you're not in the loop on why Project 2025 is so dangerous and why we all need to come together as a country to make sure that Donald Trump isn't trying to implement 2025, here's why it's so dangerous. I read the 900 pages, and here's the super dangerous thing in Project 2025. You ready? This is a Hill article trying to highlight why we should be panicked about Project 2025. Of the absurd and dangerous policies in the plan, Hogan highlighted that the Education Department and Federal Reserve could potentially be disbanded, as well as mass deportations. All sounds like reasonable policy to me. You're telling me that the 900-page document from the Extreme Heritage Foundation has horrible things in it, and if you get down to the bottom and you wanted to summarize the 3 things that people should know are terrible that's inside of this document, it includes getting rid of the Federal Reserve, getting rid of the Department of Education, you're 2 for 3, and deporting mass deportations. That one, I get why people would take issue with it. I do think I got mixed feelings on that one. I feel like there's a period of time, if you've been here for, like, it seems cruel to uproot you. I also think setting precedent on the fact of, hey, your side's not going to cheat and just bring people in here to vote, or we're not going to incentivize people coming in illegally, that if there were a way to, I guess, or I got mixed feelings on it. I'd have to give it more thought, but I guess you would hope that it would be done in the least inhumane way possible, of quickly but now I feel like I'm doing the political talk of, like, we're going to do it in a nice way where they're going to go back to their nicer places and they're going to be on nice flights and no one's going to be separated from this. I mean, what happened over the last 2 years with the volume of people that came over the border is bad news. And I think that I'm a big fan of immigrants coming into the country, but I do think that if the nation doesn't want that, and there should be ways to do it that isn't just cheating and isn't just one side inviting as many people in as possible. I don't think that makes sense. And with what's happened over the last couple of years, sometimes, like, there's policies in which I don't agree with people, but I can at least understand where they're coming from. And I guess trying to make some sort of a gesture of deportations, which does not mean to me kicking out all the illegal immigrants that have come in, but maybe some of them, so that, you disincentivize the behavior, because there's a possibility of coming here and then not being able to live here comfortably. I mean, at the moment, it seems like if you just sneak over, it's like you made it to home base, you get a high five, you get a hotel room in New York City, your kids can be citizens if they're born here, you can get a lot of social services. And so how are we going to disincentivize, or we can choose to just have legal come over the border, but that's not the way it's structured. Okay. And then last one, and hopefully the internet doesn't salute this. I mean, worst case scenario, you see my email address. Remember I was talking about that amidst the things that government's not addressing, this should be a law that if a company emails you, it's from a standard email address that you have a way of validating. And this is not the most flagrant one I've gotten. I've gotten flagrant PDFs from Geico. I've gotten flagrant PDFs from Hertz. But, like, how can I be responsible for engaging with your email if it's not from, for example, in this one, at ihg.com? Holiday Inn Expresses, I'm on the road all the time. They're fine. There's no frills at a Holiday Inn Express. There's a pool you don't want to be in, a breakfast you don't want to eat, and a clean room that's got a desk. There's nothing exciting about a Holiday Inn Express, and it's all for more money than you feel like you should need to spend for some hotel room on the side of the road. You don't feel like you're going to get bed bugs or killed like a Red Roof Inn, where it feels like you're checking into a prison and there's a lady behind a glass case and, hookers and whatever. It doesn't feel like that, but you don't feel like, oh, wow, I'd like to. Believe me, there's been times where you're like, you spend like 3 days at Holiday Inn Express. It's fine. It's not good. It's not bad. It's nothing. It's just, you're not going to feel like you're dying and bugs are eating you while you're there. It's a no frills modern day hotel. That's the Holiday Inn Express. If anyone wants to take a different position on Holiday Inn Express, if you want to tell me that I'm too bougie, that I think that's that's no frills, I'll take that call. If you want to tell me it's more disgusting than I'm painting it to be, you can come on and have that argument. You want to tell me that my summation of a Holiday Inn Express is in any way right or wrong? I'm open to the arguments on this. In my opinion, it's in my head from pre-inflation, what should have been an $89 a night hotel room, which now after fees and taxes is $175, and you got 2 queen beds that don't have bugs on them, and you don't feel like you're going to die at the hotel. That's what a Holiday Inn Express is. And listen, if you really like the problem with the breakfast, you can't wake up in the morning and eat that trash. You just, I mean, where does your day go? You're not going to make it to the porch tour. You're going to be drinking and smoking cigarettes real early. I never understand these adults who are actually, I had one time where I tried those, maybe now we're in the Jewy talk of the bouginess that I don't quite like to admit to. I'm not bougie though. All right. Anyways, look at they send me an email. You know, I like free points if I have free points, letting me know that I'm going to lose all my points from all the stays that I've had because there were duplicate accounts. And you think I'm clicking that link when you send me something from a TX blah, blah, blah? It's like, just make it standard and make it verifiable. If we all know that there's internet scams out there and then they all look at you like it was your fucking fault for clicking a suspicious link, how are you not supposed to click a suspicious link if every time companies send you real information, it's from an attachment PDF, it's from a link that you have to click, and it's never from a standardized email address? These are the OCD things where it's like, this is a simple fix. Can't we fix some of these little simple nothing things that are out in the ether? All right, that's the show. Thanks for hanging out with us. Come out to Porch Tour. You go to porchtour.com. We've got a whole lot of dates coming up here. You know what? And then I'll take some comments. I'll take comments. But before we do, here, let's take a look at some of the Porch Tour dates coming up. We've got Andy up there on the stage, you know, showing off. He's the Porch Tour model. We've got Brewston Mills tonight, Cleveland tomorrow. We've got Memphis on next week, Friday, Bon Aqua, Tennessee, Bria's Comedy Bash. That's more for her friends and people. If you got deep pockets, though, you can come out. Santa Barbara, Hawthorne, Aguaga, Birmingham, Savannah. Oh, I have Atlanta confirmed. I have to put up that ticket link. That's on me. But we have a spot confirmed for Atlanta. And then, you know, we're going to start putting together the West Coast stuff. Porchtour.com. Check it out. All right, let's take some comments. Edward Snowden, is the Porch Tour network not robust enough yet that you still need to check into hotels? You know, that's a good point. We're growing the Porch Tour network. Like, for example, right now I'm at Max's house. This is my 4th night on the road at Max's house. We're really being overindulgent here, but his wife hasn't thrown us out yet, and she keeps making delicious sourdough bread, which makes me think that she doesn't mind me being here, or she wants to, like, she knows that she knows how fat I'll get. Maybe that's her way of like graciously getting rid of me, is to continuously feed me carbs until I'm finally like, I can't go there anymore. But look at this bar. You know, these are the best nights. We last night we showed up at 1 a.m. Max gets out of bed, busts open a bottle of whiskey, had fed me a roast beef sandwich. I had these delicious cookies another fan brought for me on the road. This is a good life. So the more often than not, we're doing hotels because I got to try and cover some of the drive at nights in the next hotels. But you're right, Mr. Snowman. Hopefully we get to the level where it's nothing but more Maxes on the road. Holiday Inn is perfectly mid. There you go. That's the way it's the mids. It's weed. It will get you high. It's not exciting. It's not particularly good, but you know, you got your 8th for $40 and it's from your regular dealer and it's fine. All right. Jeff Gordon's mom. I use continental breakfast like it's my last meal, then leave with a bag of pastries and cereal for the rest of the day. You know, I got, are you heavy? Are you magically gifted? Do you have a stomach of steel? Do you do 3-day fasts? How are you making that work? Every once in a while, like those, dude, breakfast hotel waffles out of that thing, particularly if you can hit it before the other people, where you got to box them out and you got to be all like on guard, trying to flip the thing, trying to get a second waffle. I can't remember the last time I had a hotel breakfast waffle, but those are excellent. You know what's particularly excellent? One time I was at a Hilton even though I've been trashing Hilton brands. I don't like the Hilton brands, but they had like a cinnamon bun waffle flavored waffle. I mean, a cinnamon bun flavored waffle. So they added extra chemicals into that waffle batter before you add the syrup to it. And that was a good time. I wish I was still like Jeff Gordon's mom. I wish I was the 14-year-old kid before you're going skiing for the day, eat everything that you possibly can at the breakfast buffet, and then shove whatever you can into your pockets for lunch as well. That was a good life. Junior, a worker tried to steal a year worth of points from my IHD account and had to go back to the hotel a week later. Sounds annoying. I stay in Marriott's mostly. They're the same price and breakfasts are usually better than Hilton's or Holiday Inn. I'm on board. Fairfield Inn by Marriott, I think, is the brand I'm looking to marry. I have to actually get one of those Marriott cards. The non-Fairfield Inns are a little bit more expensive, and I've already trashed the Fairfield Inn that sometimes they have the bathrooms with the half walls that are made for slip and falls to take out the old people. But I will say, amongst the chains, the Hiltons, they killed their brand and that they took over these other like smaller ones that are just trash, like the Garden Inns. The Garden Inns, they look nice online, and sometimes they're just trash. They've not done a good job with their branding. They've destroyed their brand name where they took on too many other brands, I guess because they were able to get the funding from some private equity company to buy up some of these other inns, and the other ones are just trash. And then you got maybe your nice Hilton, like the True by Hilton. There's too much fucking hotel talk. I spend too much time on the road. All right. Homes 2 by Hilton are very good. Yeah, that's the new one. You got the True and I think the Home 2, which are like kind of the more modern ones, but they've just done me dirty with too many of these other ones. And then sometimes you roll up and you find out there's a fee for parking and a fee for breakfast. They're pulling too many Jew scams that I'm like, I'm done with you guys. All right, that is the episode. Thank you for hanging out. We'll be back probably next week, Wednesday, with a brand new episode. And then Saturday, we will do a live podcast from the AJ Theater. Looking forward to that. Not doing that many live podcasts on this tour. So I'm looking forward to that. Eric Mintz, are there no super chats? I was going to donate to the cause. I love donations to the cause. Thus far, I love donations to the cause so much. I have no vehicle for people to be able to make donations to the cause. And we don't do super chats because I think if we monetized in any fashion, YouTube would take down my show even sooner. But there are going to be some mechanisms in the near future for paywalled content and sending me money so that maybe I could stay in nicer hotel rooms and complain less and focus on the news more. All right, that's our episode. Thank you for hanging out. Have a great one. Later, everybody.